Hi guys, sorry it's been a while. Haven't made a video on the house renovation in over 6 months, and that's because I haven't actually done anything on the house in 6 months. The only thing I've done is make this workbench here, and I basically copied it from other YouTube videos, so I won't show the process of building it. I'll just put some links to the videos that inspired it in the description below. I'll get back into the renovation as soon as I finish making this video, so there are renovation videos for later this year, as well as the house tour. But the original plan for this video, apart from the progress update or lack of progress update, was to give you a tour of my new workshop, including the bench, as well as show you all of the tools that I've accumulated over the last 6 or 7 years since I started renovating this Japanese house in 2019. I'll do that later in this video. But first I want to talk about Ryobi. Why am I suddenly talking about Ryobi? Well, to build this bench I bought some cheap sugi, Japanese cedar posts, that I needed to square. I already have the Ryobi benchtop planer, and I was planning to buy the companion Ryobi benchtop jointer as well. I'd had my eye on it for a few years, but when I went to purchase it earlier this year, I found that it was no longer being sold. And after a little bit of digging, I found that Ryobi, the brand itself, no longer sold a single power tool in Japan. So that made me curious. Ryobi, a famous Japanese company, most commonly known abroad for its DIY power tools. It's the top-selling brand in Australia. Before I came to Japan, I had a Ryobi drill and driver set, and one of the top brands in the US, the UK and Europe didn't sell tools in Japan. Well, they used to sell some tools like the aforementioned benchtop planer, as well as this portable mortiser that I've never used. They never sold their ubiquitous 18-volt 1+ range in Japan. Ryobi was founded in Hiroshima in 1943. They started with a single melting furnace in a retrofitted soy sauce warehouse, manufacturing aluminium die-cast parts for military aircraft like the famous Mitsubishi Zero fighter. After World War II, they pivoted to civilian manufacturing, using their precision molding expertise to become a supplier of heavy-duty engine blocks and transmission cases for car companies like Ford and Toyota. In 1968, Ryobi took that industrial engineering background and expanded into power tools. By the 1970s, they were ready to test international waters, entering the US in 1973, Australian and European markets throughout the decade. Those regions quickly became vital hubs for their power tool business, where the brand built a solid reputation for quality and innovation. This success helped lead to their milestone inventions like the world's first compact benchtop thickness planer, the AP10, in 1984. I have an updated model of this planer, and the groundbreaking 18-volt 1+ battery system in 1996. By the late 1990s, the Asian financial crisis hit the Japanese economy hard. Ryobi Limited was facing intense financial pressure and mounting debt. At the same time, the global tool industry was exploding, requiring massive ongoing investments in battery R&D, international marketing, and cutthroat retail distribution to scale that cordless platform overseas. Ryobi's board made a strategic choice to sell the global consumer tool business to reduce their debt and protect their core industrial automotive division. Between 2000 and 2002, Ryobi Limited sold its international power tool operations to Tektronic Industries, or TTI, a manufacturing company based in Hong Kong. TTI took over manufacturing, licensed the Ryobi brand name, struck an exclusive distribution deal with the Home Depot, and used Ryobi's original 1996 battery design to build the massive neon green DIY lineup sold overseas today. But back home in Japan, the original Ryobi company continued to manufacture and sell their traditional professional trade tools. You couldn't buy the 18-volt 1+ cordless range here, but Japanese carpenters relied on their high-end tools and machinery designed specifically for the domestic market. However, pressure was mounting. They were constantly competing against powerhouses Makita and Hikoki in a shrinking domestic construction market, driven by Japan's aging population and declining birth rate. Meanwhile, Ryobi's core automotive division was growing due to the growing market for electric vehicles. And in 2018, Ryobi Limited sold their domestic tool division to another Japanese company, Kyocera. Kyocera was founded in 1959 in Kyoto. Their name is short for Kyoto Ceramics. They started out making technical fine ceramics, but quickly expanded into electronics. My very first digital camera was a Kyocera FineCam SL400R. Today they are a massive industrial giant specializing in electronic components, office printers, and industrial cutting tools. Kyocera maintained the Ryobi brand name initially, but over the last few years they have been rebranding those tools under the Kyocera banner, as well as phasing out products like the jointer I was planning to buy and my AP10N thickness planer. You can no longer find Ryobi tools in Japanese home centers, and instead you'll find Kyocera tools. Today, Ryobi Limited is going strong as a large industrial company still headquartered in Hiroshima, focusing on die casting, structural EV components, commercial door hardware and printing equipment. So that's why you can't buy a new Ryobi power tool in Japan today. Now back to the workshop. This is what the workshop looked like before. And this is what it looks like now. It's not perfect. I'm not the tidiest person in the world, but this is pretty good for me. I call it my workshop. I don't know if it's technically a workshop because it's mostly outdoors, but I think this bench helps a lot. If you look down here, I have drawers and, I can keep things in here. I've got all different screws, other tools, my router bits and drill bits and so on. I still need to make organizers to keep everything a little bit more tidy in there, but I'll get to that eventually. Okay, so I made it with mostly wood that I already had. So these sugi boards had been sitting in my shed for a few years. They're not that expensive. I made these little dog holes in the top, and around this side is where I keep my clamps. Although it's undercover, if it is windy, sometimes rain does get in here, so obviously it's not going to be ideal if it gets drenched, but it can withstand a bit of light rain and occasional moisture. The other features are that it has wheels on the bottom here that I can use if I want to move the bench out into the sun for some reason. I want to work out there. Also, I can move it when I need to clean underneath, which was a big problem with the previous workbench, which was really just an overturned wardrobe with a piece of plywood screwed on top. The plastic feet are actually adjustable subfloor supports. Obviously, because water can get in here, I didn't want the wood sitting directly on the concrete. And also because the concrete is not perfectly flat, there I can screw them to adjust to make the bench level and stable. As I mentioned before, I'll put the links to the YouTube videos that I used to design and build this bench in the description below. So these are all the tools I've accumulated since 2019. I do have quite a few garden tools that are not shown here. As you can see, most of these here are Makita. I'm on the Makita 18-volt platform. It's served me pretty well. I've got 3 Makita batteries that I've had pretty much since the beginning and have lasted all of this time. So I'm pretty happy with those. This is my Makita 36-volt track saw. It's one of my more recent purchases. It's been really handy for breaking up large plywood sheets. I even used it to help joint my dining table. This is before I had the jointer. One of my earliest tools, the Makita circular saw, as well as the router, drills, drivers, impact driver, and various sanders. This random orbital sander is one of my most frequently used tools. I have a belt sander, and haven't used these for a long time, but I've got these Black & Decker mouse sanders. I use these for when I was sanding the exterior of the house primarily. And then I have this planer. This planer I actually found in the shed here when I bought the house, so that was handy. I didn't need to buy one of those. Another pretty handy tool is the multi-tool. And I also do have some Hikoki. I have the Hikoki angle grinder, and I've got a slide saw as well. not strictly a workshop tool, but this leaf blower I use for cleaning up the workshop, blowing sawdust away, as well as in the garden. I've spoken about the Ryobi benchtop thickness planer. This is the jointer I eventually got instead of the Ryobi one. I was going to get the Ryobi one second hand, but they were relatively expensive, and that's kind of how I found out that they were no longer in production. So in the end I got this brand I'd never heard of before. I bought this for just over 30,000 new. It's a little bit more expensive than a second-hand Ryobi. By the way, I made this trolley for the jointer and the benchtop planer just out of 2x4s. It's really handy because the benchtop planer and the jointer are quite heavy, not so convenient moving them around all the time, and I need to store them under here, protected from the rain when not in use. But when I do use them, they need to be used outside in the open. So something simple like this, but with wheels, was essential. And this is my table saw. I made this stand quite a long time ago. It's pretty messy. I should probably keep this tidier. Maybe I should have cleaned it before I filmed it, but anyway, I've started already. This is also a Makita, and this is really, really handy. One of my best purchases, and I think, if you have the room, it's certainly one of the tools that you probably should get as soon as you're able to, if you're doing a renovation. I also have a shop vac that I use occasionally, probably should use more often, but because I'm working outdoors, it's often just easier just to let the dust fly around and then blow it out into the garden later. And to protect me from dust, I do have a couple of dust masks here. So these dust masks were sent to me by a company called Basecamp, and I use them regularly when I'm, using some of these tools that give off a lot of dust, even when I'm working outside. I've got this one. This is the first one I had. This is I used this in the last video. It's quite good. It keeps the dust out, and also it allows me to keep wearing the cap. And, I work outside in the sun quite a lot, so that's handy. But they also sent me recently a new style of mask, which is also an option, which goes around the ear. This type of mask is really handy if you've got a wide brim hat. If you are interested in purchasing these masks, you can get a discount using the code below. Note that I also get a small commission from any purchase you might make. So anyway, thanks for watching. I hope you found that interesting. Like I said, there are proper renovation videos coming up this year. I hope to work on the second floor very soon after I finish making that deck, and a few other things in the house, as well as the house tour video that I know I've been promising for a long time, but I do plan to do that this year. Let me know if you have any comments or questions down below, and I'll see you next time.